Hi everyone, we wanted to bring you this week's show a few days early to talk about the recent Supreme Court decision on DAPA and DACA Plus.
Right. As you probably have heard by now, the Supreme Court came to a 4-4 tie decision on Thursday on the United States versus Texas case.
We definitely want to talk to you about exactly what that means, but we also want to give the people directly impacted by this ruling a chance to respond.
And maybe most importantly, we want to talk about what we're going to do next. So stick with us. I'm Juanita.
And I'm Grecia.
And this is Choices and Chismes.
Choices and Chismes. Choices and Chismes.
Okay, so before we get started, I just want to tell all of you that we're going to try to cover as much as we can today. But this is a complex issue, and you may still have many questions at the end. The good thing is that there's a community call on Wednesday, July 6th. Remember that, Wednesday, July 6th, where there will be even more details about the implications of the decision, and where many of you will be able to ask your questions to experts who will be helpful in their answers.
That's right. There's an English call at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by a Spanish call at 9 p.m. Eastern. To sign up for the English language call, text LISTEN to 69866. To sign up for the Spanish language call, text ESCUCHA to 69866.
And all of these details, including how to sign up for the call, are on our website, so visit choicesandchismes.org for more information. And remember, the call is free, so be sure to join us.
So, Juanita, let's talk about what happened exactly. What is DACA and DAPA? What does this decision mean for families in our communities?
So, I think we've talked to you guys about what DACA and DAPA is before, but they're both initiatives that President Obama created back in November of 2014 to provide deportation relief to 5 million people in our country who are currently undocumented. DACA Plus is an expansion of the previously enacted DACA, which occurred in 2012. And so what it does is it allows for young people who arrive to the United States at a very early age to receive permission to work and more often than not receive access to education and not be afraid that they're going to be deported. And so this new version was just an expansion of the dates and who could apply for it. Then additionally, what was at stake during this case was DAPA, right, which did the same things but for parents of citizens and legal residents of the United States, so protecting those parents from having to separate from their families and leave their children because of deportations.
Yep. And it's also important for people to remember that while the Supreme Court case is disappointing, it does not impact the DACA program from 2012.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. And I think that this disappointing news should be an even further encouragement for all of those that do qualify for the original DACA to apply and to show the country how DACA really changes lives.
Yeah, so in terms of how this Supreme Court case started, we just need to make sure that people understand this was a case that was started by the Attorney General and the Texas Republican leadership that basically went and found the most biased judge in Judge Haynen, and then they put in a lawsuit to challenge the legality for President Obama's executive action for DAPA, and 26 other states, also led by Republican leadership, join in this lawsuit.
Yeah, I think, like you said, what we have to remember is that this was done in a really deliberate way, and every step of the way our community has been there fighting back.
Yeah. Well, Juanita and our production team were actually able to be at the Supreme Court on the day of the ruling, and we were able to talk to Kika Matos, the director of Immigrant Rights and Racial Justice at the Center for Community Change Action, to explain what happened.
The court tied. It was a 4-4 opinion, and what it basically means is that the holding of the Fifth Circuit holds for now. And so DACA Plus and DAPA will not be moving forward. What it will take for us to be able to break that tie is once they have appointed a ninth justice, we can then try to bring this case back for reconsideration, and that is really what our next steps are. And in terms of our community, look, we have to channel that anger and that rage into making sure that our communities exercise every bit of energy and power that they have to not only register people to vote, but to go out and vote. And if they can't vote themselves, then they need to find other people to vote so that we can punish all of those who have stood in our way in Congress and in the Supreme Court. And that's what our next steps are going to be. We're not done fighting yet. This is only the beginning.
I think Kika makes a really good point that this is a really difficult decision for all of us to swallow, but we're definitely going to keep on fighting. So I really appreciate her words on that.
Yeah.
While we were in front of the Supreme Court waiting for the decision, and after the decision, we were able to talk and to kind of hear a lot of what the families who were present wanted to share and what their thoughts were, what they were feeling.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to see how they were feeling, what they were thinking, and what message they wanted to send to the Republican Party for preventing DACA Plus and DAPA from moving forward.
Yeah, and I think most importantly, as you bring up, is what is their message for people like me who felt extremely disillusioned yesterday and who felt somewhat lost. Their responses are really surprising, and the strength of our movement is inspiring.
My name is David Chung. I'm from South Korea, immigrated here when I was 3 years old. I benefit from DACA, and I was able to receive it in 2013. So ever since then, I've been able to drive, work, and my parents, they're still undocumented. They would have qualified for DAPA if it were to be implemented, so they're still in limbo. I'm disappointed, but I'm also, there's a resolve that I feel that our community is going to be stronger from it, and I feel like from this we're going to be able to really galvanize and utilize this disappointment to our strength. So I'm feeling different sorts of ways. But for the folks that can vote, definitely remember this, what the Supreme Court decided, what the Republicans, what this whole political game, the circus was, and remember to vote and really show the issues that matter to you, whether it be immigration, whether it be racial justice, all of those things. Go out and vote and use that privilege that you have. Secondly, for our community, both Latinos, Asians, all sorts of groups, immigrants, minorities, our community needs to unite and stand stronger and build power, because we need to get bigger and better victories for our community.
Mi nombre es Madaí Ledesma y soy de México. ¿Cómo te sientes ahorita? Decepcionada.
My name is Madaí Ledesma and I'm from Mexico. I'm very upset with the justices because they prioritized other things over U.S. citizen children. They know who our children are and what kind of future is ahead for them. If the court were to vote in their favor, we would have beneficiaries of DAPA, and obviously our future was going to change very drastically, emotionally, psychologically, and in all senses of the word.
By getting your name and where you're from and an organization.
Julieta Garibay, United We Dream.
And how are you feeling right now?
A lot of disappointment, a lot of anger. A lot of our people fought and won this. And we were looking forward to actually going into implementation if a good decision came out. And so it's disheartening to know that they made that choice, but very much knowing that it's been the Republicans who have been attacking us all this time, and so we're fighting back. We've been here before, and we're going to keep on fighting. So that's our commitment to our people.
My name is Brendavarios. I'm from Guatemala. I am one of the leaders of CASA in Action.
And how are you feeling right now?
I'm not feeling good because, I live in USA for 13 years. I'm graduate at high school. I have my 2 boys. They born here. One is Francarlo. He's 10 years old. And another one is Kevin. He's 3 years old. My husband, he's working hard every single day. But you know what? We're staying here and we continue working. We continue fire because we are humans. We know aliens. We know criminals.
Thank you. Could I speak with your son, your 10-year-old son?
Sure.
So could you just say your name and how old you are?
My name is Francarlo and I'm 10 years old.
So how are you feeling right now?
Right now I'm feeling sad because I was hoping for the Supreme Court and all the judges to pick that we could get DACA because I want my mom and my dad to have a better job.
Yeah. So what do you think that people should do? People who are in your situation should do?
I think they should just stay the same. Just keep on fighting until we get DACA.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So my name is Nestor Ruiz. I'm originally from Mexico, raised in Florida, but living in DC for work. And I'm with United We Dream.
Okay. And how are you feeling right now?
A bit disappointed, but still hopeful. So now, I'm thinking, I have to call my mom because she qualifies for DAPA, essentially. I'm a DACA recipient myself. So just letting her know what happened, explain to her the situation and what the possibilities are afterwards. But just reassuring her that we're going to keep fighting for her and for other people that still don't qualify for any sort of protection. I'm a bit worried about her reaction. She was really hopeful for this. She's our community has been disappointed a lot lately. So I don't know how she's going to handle it.
For all the families right now that are feeling really hopeless, but do you have anything that you want to say to them?
Yes. I want to tell them that I love them, that we're going to continue to fight for them, and this is not the end.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Totally.
When our community is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! When our community is under...
My name's Javier Perez. I'm with United We Dream. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Lakeland, Florida. To be honest, I'm at a loss of words, mainly because my mom, who would have qualified for DAPA, I have to call her now to tell her what happened, and it really breaks my heart because she was been at the forefront of this fight since 2014. She was here on April 18th when they had the oral arguments, and she was actually going to be here on Monday in case the decision came out then. So now I had to call her and tell her that she won't be able to apply for DAPA soon.
How do you think your mom is going to take that information?
At first she's going to be sad, I think. But my mom's, she's always been a warrior. So she knows, that this fight is not just about DAPA, it's about something more. Our communities, they're watching, and while the majority of us are not able to vote, we have friends who are able to vote, we have family members who are able to vote. My sister, who just became a registered voter this year and voted on her first election, she was the first of our family to be able to vote. And she knows, she's watching all of this, she knows how my mom and my dad have to live with this fear that they might be separated from her, and that's what drove her to the vote in the primaries earlier this year. And we're going to be making sure that our voices are heard.
There are joy justice. When do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now.
My name is Grecia Martinez Rosas. I'm the Advocacy Director for United We Dream, the largest immigrant youth-led network in the country. My mother would have been eligible for DAPA. I am a beneficiary of DACA 2012, and I wanted her to have that moment. I wanted her to feel what it feels like to get your social security number and be able to have 9 little digits to put on those boxes. I wanted her to feel what it feels like to be able to plan to go back to Mexico if you want to or if you need to. Earlier, I was feeling devastated. I called my mom, and we cried together on the phone. She's in Dallas, Texas. But now I'm feeling fired up, and I'm feeling angry. I feel like it's a natural thing to feel like something has been stolen from you. Republicans stole a moment of victory from my mom and I. They stole her moment of being able to hug her mother next year, maybe. And so that makes me angry. But at the same time, I want to make sure that Democrats don't increase my anger and that they deliver on ending the raids, that they deliver on releasing women and children from detention centers, and that Secretary Clinton make a promise that she will enact executive action on her first day in office if she wins.
This is a podcast for young immigrants and Latinos, and I was just wondering if there's anything else that you want to say to them right now.
Yeah, I think at the same time that we'll be raising hell on the streets and ensuring that Democrats and Republicans feel the heat. This is about political power, and in this country, political power is at the voting booths. And so, my sisters will be with me shutting down Republican offices at the same time that they will be with me as they think about who they're going to vote for in the voting booths. And so, we shut it down and we vote people in.
And what do you want to say to families who are feeling hopeless and devastated, like you said you were initially?
I think I would say what I said to my mom, which is, this country sometimes feels like it wasn't built for women of color, and it wasn't. And every day is a struggle, and every day that we get home safely, it's a victory. And so we have been through worse. My mom and I crossed the Rio Grande, and we made it through. And so today's not going to break us, and for the rest of the millions of people, it's not going to break us. We made this day possible. We made this victory happen in the first place, and we will be the ones to deliver the long-term victory ahead. So it's just a matter of time. We are inevitable. The immigrant rights movement is inevitable.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone who shared their stories. I know a lot of us are feeling sad and angry and frustrated right now. I know that since we started, I've heard you a little down. How are you feeling?
To be quite honest with you and with our audience, this is really tough for not just for me, but for millions of people. And having been there at the Supreme Court, I think we were all taken by surprise. The SCOTUS blog, the Supreme Court blog, only released one line that simply said immigration 4-4 tie. And so we were all shocked, and I'm still in shock. But I think the hardest part was seeing a lot of the families that we've been working with just break down in tears right then and there in front of the Supreme Court. So
yeah,
I think I'm still heartbroken, and I guess, I think it's really hard to get the rest of our country to understand what this means or how tough it is. But I think, just knowing that 5 million people had so much hope that things were going to change.
Yeah.
Having that shattered is just really tough to deal with.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel it was also really hard because you were outside of the Supreme Court and you were also witnessing everyone's reaction, right, in lifetime.
Yeah.
And you literally saw so many of the faces of our families and people that we have been working with for a long time just, have that moment of mourning and loss.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think people don't realize is this was not going to provide citizenship for millions of people. It was not a path to legalization, but what it did provide was safety and just a chance for so many people to just be able to breathe and feel like they belong and like their families are safe.
Yeah. I feel similar. I'm feeling better than I was when I heard the decision, but I just remember thinking the same thing that you're mentioning, which is my brain knew that this was a total possibility, especially because we had a missing Supreme Court member. And because, right, we should remember that it was because the congressional Republicans threw a fit and they did not move a process forward for confirmation.
Yeah.
I was my brain knew that this was totally a possibility for us to come to this point of a tie, and just my heart was still shattered.
Yeah, you know, there's something about finally taking a case to the Supreme Court of the United States, and I kind of have hope, because there have been so many decisions, including gay marriage and what they've done with the Affordable Care Act, that they've decided again and again. You know, I had hope that they would side on the right side, you know, but it just didn't happen that way.
Yeah. And I guess, like, I want to remind all those people claiming this as a victory is that all those families are mixed status families. All those children eventually are going to grow up. You know, like, they are eventually, for better or for worse, going to be eligible to petition their parents. And I know that because of my own experience. Like, I was undocumented, became a legal permanent resident, had the ability to petition for my parents, and I didn't. And, you know, I hadn't mentioned this to you, Juanita, but as you remember, like, we were in a very long battle for his deportation procedures and stopping his deportation. And we just went to the immigration interview, and it was a really hard immigration interview to adjust his status to a legal permanent resident, because they asked us a whole bunch of questions around his past and questioned whether he was a person of good moral character and all those things. And we kept on pointing to the evidence, right, that we have just been here as a family to work and to contribute and to be good members of society. And, you know, after that long process, we just got the news that he is now a legal permanent resident. So,
oh, wow.
I just want to remind, like, all those people that we will not stop in fighting for our families, because that's what we do. That's what we are. And that's what we will always do. So they can stop DACA and DAPA, but in a few years, all those U.S. citizen children, all those legal permanent resident children, they're going to fight for their parents, just like I'm fighting for mine.
Yeah.
And just like I did for, you know, my family. So just, like, don't kid yourself. This is not a victory. This is just a setback. Our victory is coming.
Oh my God, Grecia, that brings a smile to my face. I'm so happy for you and for him.
Oh, thank you.
But that's so wonderful.
You know how hard it has been. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so happy for you guys. And I think thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think that that's a ray of sunshine on a really tough time. And I think that now we really need to start thinking about not just deportation relief, but we definitely need to think about comprehensive immigration reform that will protect everyone and will make our country better. And so I think that now that the elections are here is a perfect time for us to be asking for the complete thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel already better thinking and talking with you. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah,
let's fight.
Right? Like, yeah. I'm excited, you know? And I think the other thing to say is that the more people, you know, like your father, I'm sure your father will now come back and he will fight for other people and he will be a part of this.
That's right.
This movement.
Yes.
And so we are inevitable and our country is changing for the better. And yeah, I think you're right. That made me so happy. I'm really glad to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, not all tears are for mourning. Some tears are for happiness. And, you know, our community will shed more tears of happiness when we're all free and we're all, you know, safe.
Yeah, exactly. Next is all of us.
But I think it's really important to remember who is to blame for all of this.
Right. Republican attorney generals and governors from 26 states were the ones who brought on this lawsuit to prevent the implementation of expanded DACA and DAPA. And we just wanted to list them here on air and give you guys a heads up so you know what the people in your state are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, my people, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maine, Michigan, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. All of these states ensured that millions of people did not receive relief from deportation.
Yes, and these are all on our website, choicesandchismes.org. We will have all their names listed on our website.
And again, everyone, please remember that on July 6th, we will be holding a national call to discuss this lawsuit and discuss the repercussions of the Supreme Court's tie. You can bring all of your questions to this call. You can sign up for the call by texting the word listen to 69866 or the word escuchar to 69866. There will be a call in English and one in Spanish. If you just text that number with your cell phone, you will be signed up for the call and receive a call back so you can join the call the very night at the time that the call begins.
Awesome.
But you can also go to our website and see all of that information again, as Grecia just shared.
Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes or follow us on SoundCloud so you don't miss our next episode and we can continue to bring you great information. Also, be sure to rate us on iTunes to help other people find the podcast.
Sarah English is our producer. Will Coley is our podcast consultant / audio evangelist. Our music is composed by Vanessa Ramirez and performed by Grupo Bella.
So many special thanks today to Michael Saldarriaga, Tara Walsh, Kika Matos, and all of the lovely people from Casa in Action and United We Dream Action Network, and everyone else that stopped to talk to us about their reactions to the decision. And last but definitely not least, big thanks to Juanita. Thank you, Juanita, for just processing this with me today.
Yeah. No, thank you, Grecia, and thank you again for sharing that exciting news. I couldn't be more excited for your father and for you and for your family. This is a huge triumph.
Thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Choices and Chismes is brought to you on behalf of Reform Immigration for America, fighting for immigrants' rights since 2009, and we will continue fighting for immigrants' rights for many years more.
Yeah.
Learn more about us at reformimmigrationforamerica.org. I'm Juanita.
And I'm Grecia. Until next time, nos vemos.